There are good things about the script when it's used in cinema or in movie making, but YouTube is a bit different, and possibly you may be falling into the trap. So let's see what those traps are. Hey there, my name is Kunal and I'm a computer architect, and I'm in the YouTube game since 2006 2007. Created my own channels, abandoned them, then worked for someone else, again created my own channels, worked in the back end, and now I'm sharing all my mistakes and the journey with you guys to possibly avoid any mistakes or pitfalls. Let's get into today's video. So the first thing is script memorization. You cannot memorize a script. Please understand that. This again comes or crops up from the school idea that you need to remember each and everything. Not for everyone, but for most people, like I was one of them back then. But the thing is, what script means. Now when you talk about cinema, scripting is done because the shot is set for that very element in the movie. Like there is a scene, for example, there is a deal going on and there is a scene, there are few dialogues which are exchanged, and that's the reason the actor has to only memorize the script for that particular shot. Now YouTube is also a bit of cinema, but actually a raw cinema. Why? Because in the movie, the dialogues have to be specific. They have to match the theme of the movie, the scene of the movie, the lighting of the movie, and n number of things. That is the reason there is a story writer, there is a writer, and then there is a script writer. The script writer makes the scene and writes the scene to create maximum impact. Now when it comes to YouTube, that's not the case, and that's the reason it takes a year or year and a half, depending on which director you're working with, or the directors or producers are working together. They take a lot of time to create one movie. But YouTube is raw, and that's the best part. What you can memorize is, you can create a script but just the pointers, and then you can expand on those pointers, like rehearse it before shooting the video. By rehearsing, I don't mean like today you wrote 4 pointers and now you are wasting your time on memorizing it for, I don't know, for the next 5 days. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking is, just write 5 pointers and think about how would you explain them. And I may be possibly bad at it or getting better at it, I don't know, you be the judge. So expand them and practice them, and then you do it the movie way. Like you say, this is the first point, like I do it. So this is the first point, I explained it a bit, and then I take a pause, and then I look in my notes if required, and then I again come back, and then I again expand that point, and in between I edit it to view in the screen over here. So this is how you can do it. Or you can also get a piece of paper and you can see in here. It doesn't matter uh, whether you're looking away from the camera or not when you're reading through the script. But reading through the script like exactly like you have a cell phone and then you're looking like this and you're talking like this is irritating. This is not something which you should do. There should be a constant eye contact with the viewer, which I'm trying to do, or possibly trying to keep it. So this is how you should script. You should not memorize the script. You can memorize the pointers, but I don't think there is any need as such. It depends on you how you are, and if you are very good at memorizing things, still you should not be using memorization on scripts, because it doesn't come naturally. You know, when you're having a conversation and you come up, when you use a movie kind of a dialogue which is like absolute, then people say that you're too dramatic or melodramatic, or however they place it in the actual English language, like the local language. So that is what the difference is. When you speak with your friends, you don't script it, and that's the reason the conversations are much more happening, or make sense for the parties involved in the conversation. So similarly, while I am speaking with you, I don't know who you are, but what I do is, I have one of my friend who is a very good friend of mine. I imagine that he has asked me this question, and that is how I should explain it to anyone else. So if this works, and this is also in the Richard Feynman or Feynman technique, who was a physicist. I've read his book. The thing is, he used to say that if you have understood something, you should be able to explain that to a 5-year-old, and only then you can confirm that you have understood it. So there is a difference between understanding and knowing. This is what the premise was based on. So yes, the main point is, even then you should not be doing that. You should keep the flow natural, and even if there are mistakes, like I have made many mistakes, I'm fumbling. The reason I'm fumbling is there is perfectionism even hovering in here behind my head. There is adrenaline rush. going on, but still I'm trying to maintain my nerves and communicating the point. Moving on to the next one, outlines. I have already covered outlines, but outlines should be exactly outlines. They cannot be sentences. So the first point was memorization, right? So for my notes, I made memorization and I wrote one sentence for it, what I have to cover. And I came up with the idea in my head and I started explaining it. This is what outline means. You cannot have paragraphs of paragraphs for outlines, because you will fall again in the same trap of going through the entire paragraph and then coming up with your idea, but you won't be able to come up with any example or anything, because your mind will be so concentrated on or convinced to exactly read that idea, because you think that that is the way it is, or you think you may make a mistake of conveying that particular idea. So that is the reason it won't work. This is like you go through the textbook while studying or while reading anything. You go through the words and you in the first reading you just get the gist of what the concept is. The second time you read it, you actually start understanding it a bit. The third time you read it, you have your own way of understanding it, and possibly you read the fourth time, then you have your own ways of explaining it. So this is the thing you should apply for your YouTube scripts as well. You first write the word, write one liner and try to expand it in your head, and once you have the idea, then you can start speaking, because the more takes you do, the more problematic it becomes. This is natural to all humans, I think. uh, you won't be able to speak up once you have beyond 3 takes. This is what I have learned in so many years, and personally even in this very video I was trying to perfect the intro line which I have for the new viewers, and I made like 8 to 9 takes on it and still it was useless, and that's the reason I again switched to the first one which I was using. So this is a live experience of this very video. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one. So all the idea of YouTube and perfectionism and everything else, why are we fighting with it, or why are we so meticulously checking what it is? Because everything is about views. If everything is about views, what the viewer expects is raw delivery. Because I've mentioned in my other video as well that you cannot have the connection if you are too robotic, too monotonous, or what, how do you put it, like too polished. Because people are not on YouTube to view that to have that polished look. Even if you see all the top YouTubers, whether it's Mr. Who's the Boss or anyone else, they are the main attraction. No matter how many lights or what studios they build, still they are the main attraction of the video, and their delivery is the main attraction. So you can work on your delivery of script, but the videos, even if they are scripted, they are still connecting to each and every viewer who is viewing that video, correct? So that's the reason you should keep it raw. Even if you make mistakes, that helps gain more trust. And anyways, we are not like sugarcoating anything. It is just that you have to keep it really raw and live, in terms of like it should be a conversational video, although no one is speaking back to you, but it should be a kind of conversation, so that they don't feel that you're just putting words on them. And if I am doing it, please let me know in the comments below, of course. So this is the whole idea about scripting, because no matter how perfect script you make, and there is the same uh, downward spiral when it comes to writing scripts, because same is with the video idea, same is with shooting the video. It never ends, because creative jobs, which is this everything which I've spoken as of now and in other videos as well, every creative job has its own problems, but the problems crop up from the very same thinking patterns which we have. Like, if for example in the creative field, if I ask you to create a painting instead of a YouTube video, the same things will crop up. The syndrome of what is it called, imposter syndrome, which colors to use, the color picking perfectionism, then these colors should last in the sunlight, and so on and so forth. Same goes with your YouTube video. You start with the script, like there you will compare the papers or pages which you should do. There you will try to make it on a raw paper, not using the canvas, actual canvas, and then you will think that okay, the raw one was much better, but it's not on the canvas. And then no matter how many times you try to make it on the canvas, you will never like that one. And that's this is how you can compare it with your YouTube thing. No matter how much you script, you might like the third take after giving like 18th take of the same pointer. So these are all the same things which keep cropping up when it comes to this thing, creative endeavors, no matter what the creative endeavor is. So that's the reason you should be strict about scripting and just use the pointers and don't try to memorize it. uh, Create the scene inside your head, how are you going to explain it, and start working on it. That's it. No more stopping stones, nothing else to worry about. Just keep publishing, that's it. And if you want to read a book, there is a book, I think by now everyone must have read that book, Steal Like an Artist. There are many good pointers in that book of how creative work works, or how creative people should treat their work, and it should help you much more. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Please let me know what are my problems, what is the problem in my delivery, and look at my shoulders which are frozen. Now it's time to relax. So yeah, so this happens to everyone, like even the ones who are like having made 1000 plus videos. So I'm new, so it's okay for me. So this is how I do it, and that's the reason I'm able to publish and push the videos. Thank you for watching.